With recent events around the world, a lot of people have wondered why someone becomes a suicide bomber. There have been analysis, novels, movies. We'll talk with the co-writer of a thought-provoking film in just a moment, but first, here's a clip of The War Within.
But they come with the police and with guns. What would you do?
But they already have a house.
Doesn't matter. They want this one. And then one day they come and they say, you can't live in the yard anymore. We found oil under the ground and it's very valuable and we need it. What would you do?
I don't understand. Somebody would stop them.
The Colemans know the mayor, and the mayor wrote a law that said that they could do what they wanted. What would you do, Ali?
I'd fight them.
Good question. Akhtar played the lead role in The War Within, and he co-wrote the screenplay. He's now with us from New York. Why did you decide to make this film?
I think it was really important for us as American filmmakers to address a question which, unfortunately doesn't really get a lot of thoughtful, complex human analysis. I think there's a lot of hardened political rhetoric around the question of the genesis of suicide bombers and their political motivations and whatnot. And we as artists just felt that we had a role to play in contributing to the understanding.
It's interesting. How do you understand that? How do you capture what goes through the mind of a suicide bomber?
Well, I mean, it's a task, it's a challenge. I'm not sure, it's up to the audience to decide, whether we're successful or not. But you just try to do your best to find out as much as you can, to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're trying to represent, and to, as much as possible, remain open and, really just give it your best shot and give it all your intelligence and all your heart.
And you starred in the movie, so what did you learn from that, or what did you get from your research?
I think that the thing that was very illuminating for me was that I felt as an actor that I had to connect to Hassan's personal pain and the extent to which he is a suicide bomber, that is to say, someone who is committing suicide as well as homicide. And I think that that's an element of the film which, if your viewers see it, the film is kind of a study in depression, kind of a study in social depression, in a situation, in a psychological situation which leads someone to such a desperate state of, was such a desperate act.
It must have been so emotional for you to do this.
Yeah, it was very tough. My friends didn't want to be around me when I was playing the role, so.
Interesting for you, though. You grew up in Milwaukee in a secular Islamic family. What was that like for you?
What was very interesting, we grew up, in the sort of rural suburbs of Milwaukee, and we were really the only Muslim family for many years. And in many ways, we were actually the only family of color. And so in a weird way, it just felt like growing up, there was not really any understanding of what Islam was or where we even were from. Like, we might as well have been from, as far as people knew, Antarctica or Jamaica or whatever, and nobody knew where any of those places were anyway. But I think after 9/11 is sort of when things really did change in terms of visibility for people, for Muslim Americans, and for people, I guess, essentially people who were brown. I mean, to be crass about it, I think that suddenly people, that the American public, for the most part, didn't know where they came from, suddenly became a menace, and so they came to exist, so to speak.
Do you worry about doing a movie like this? I mean, it was a controversial film. What about your own safety or how you were being, interpreted in this society?
Sure. I think absolutely, worry about it a little bit, but in the end, I'm an artist and I have a duty to do what I think is best for my contribution to, the society. So, and I felt like this is what I needed to do.
So what was that message for the audience? What did you want the audience to take from it?
I think the thing that we as filmmakers, Joseph Costello, the director, and also the co-writer, and Tom Glynn, the producer and co-writer as well, what we all three of us wanted to do was we wanted to give the audience an emotional, human experience of a situation that has become overly discursive, overly hardened through political rhetoric. People don't have a genuine human response to so much of what's happening because we're being told what to think. And we're being told to think by all quarters I mean, everybody has got an agenda. So we wanted to restore a sense of immediacy, human immediacy and emotional immediacy for the audience in relation to this subject, which is the primary subject of the news today.
Do you also try and get that message that even a suicide bomber has got their story?
I think that's sort of a, yes, of course, but it's sort of a simplification because it's kind of it's a way to dismiss what we're trying to do. We're not trying to say even a suicide bomber has a story. What we're trying to say is that this is a human phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And as a human phenomenon, there are human agents involved in every aspect of this. And to dehumanize, you know, in a sense, the irony is that we were extending to this character something that he probably would never extend to us. We were extending an opportunity at humanity. And I don't think that, I think there's a lot of dehumanization that's going on around from all quarters, and I don't think it serves our political ends to not delve and not try to understand what's happening.
And to be open to it. Thanks so much, Ayad.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.